Can USC's bye week buy the USC defense some more time to get well? We're going to talk about that on this episode of Locked on USC, and I've got Kendell Holowell back to break it all down. That's coming up next.
You are Locked on USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thanks for making Locked on USC part of the Locked on Network your first listen every single day of the week. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download this podcast, you pick the platform, download it. It's always free. This show always appreciates your support. And this episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward, Mazda Move and Be Moved. All right, so Kendell, you're back. Thanks for joining the show again. Kendell Holowell from Sports Illustrated as well as the NFL Network. The secondary needs help. Look, I'm not overstating it. USC's back half on the defense, they need some help. The cornerbacks more so than the safeties, but right now, again, that defense, they need to get better on the back end. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. USC tried to address this during the offseason. They knew they were going to have a bunch of young cornerbacks in the room, so they went out and they got DJ Harvey out of the transfer portal. That hasn't quite worked out as well as anyone anticipated yet. They brought in Chasen Johnson from Central Florida, who has some familiarity. He got some playing time last year with USC cornerbacks coach Trovon Reed, but he's out for the season. And then you got your other veterans, DeCarlos Nicholson, and don't forget Prophet Brown. He's missed time with his injury. So last week against Illinois, Kamari Ramsey, he was out with food poisoning, so that kind of forced him to miss the game. What can they do during this bye week? Because we've been seeing signs of this through the first 4 games, and then game 5 the dam kind of broke a little bit. So has it looked as bad as it has, or do they need to fix this?
No, like you said, they were able to mask it up for those first 4 games. And like you said, like you saw like small parts of it. I know like Georgia Southern scored on that long touchdown on that first possession after the early fumble. Obviously the broken coverages against Michigan State last week. But they were able to cover it up because they can get after the passer. And not only could they get after the passer, they can get after the passer with 4 guys. So when you have that, you can drop 7, you can drop 8. It them out as much as possible. All that was gone against Illinois. Like that was non-existent, and they were kind of left quote dry. I know Devin Stevens talked about it yesterday during his presser. He's like, the way that we can up them out is obviously rushing the passer, affecting the quarterback. Because I tweeted about it, I think last week before the Illinois game, telling people not to give up on these young corners, specifically talking about Conley and Williams, because they're young. Right? They played 5 games. They played like a little bit last year at the end of that Utah State game, but I really count that. So they played 5 games. And quarterback is the second hardest position. I don't think there's any debate about it. It's obviously quarterback, it's cornerback. And especially when you have 2 young guys that are, 19, 20 years old, and it's really trial by fire for them. And DeCarlos Nicholson was in and out of the lineup against Illinois. So it was really a lot of times it was just them. And they struggled. And again, I told people not to give up on them because it was September at the time, and obviously the Illinois game was still in September. There's 7 games left, and I am in the belief that maybe this is just me being very, very optimistic. I'm in the belief that by the time we get to late October, early November, that we'll be talking about look at the drastic change that they made, look how much they've improved because of the games of what happened, right? Illinois, Michigan State, because I think that they'll learn from that. The question is, do they learn from it this year, or does it happen next year? Because they need them now. So are they going to improve now? I still believe that they can. I don't think that Coach Riley and I don't think all these players, anytime in fall camp, like who's showing you something, Braylon Conley, Marcellus Williams, constantly over and over again. I don't think obviously we haven't seen it on the field. I don't think that's by accident. I don't think that's just, blowing smoke or anything like that. I think that there was a real thing that they showed in practice, and obviously they raved about them in spring, and that carried over into the fall. So I don't think that was just, Riley just throwing names out there, just trying to talk about the corners really think, and the players are talking about him too. So I really think that there was something there, and that we'll see it eventually. As far as helping them out, again, it's the pass rush. And I think someone had DM me about this yesterday, talking about their cornerbacks, specifically their leverage and the way that they line up, because it's either they're 10 yards off, which is very, very far back. I do not understand that. I think if you're going to play off man, you should be around 7 yards. And then they play a lot of soft press, which is, if people don't know, it's the line of scrimmage, it's inch technique, kind of getting a little bit deep into it, and they're lost out there. They cannot, at this point, that's something that they cannot do. Not having hands on somebody and kind of be left on an island. You saw it in that touchdown on Braylon Conley. I think it was the one that made it 31-17. He was sitting out there, soft press coverage, and he got no hands on the receiver. He wasn't inside leverage, and he was just left on an island out there. And you cannot do that. It doesn't matter who you're playing moving forward. And again, until they get comfortable with a certain technique. And again, that's something you have to find that they're most comfortable at. But until you do that, it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah, no, look, you touched on all the points I wanted to bring up. So obviously the pass rush wasn't there. Their only sack of the game, the defense, was from DeCarlos Nicholson actually blitzing from the cornerback position.
Yeah.
You brought up that soft press, and I think that's what's so frustrating. You're having your guy line up in a situation with no safety help.
Right.
And when you're 2 yards off the ball, you don't have time to turn your hips. You just don't, because the wide receiver's already made his move. If he gives you just one little move that makes you turn the wrong way or give up your leverage, you're beat. You're done. The band is playing in the background.
I think their confidence too. Like I think that necessarily that do it, but it got worse as the game went along. I think when you start to give up a little bit, you start giving up yards, you start giving up big plays. I know Braylon had the missed tackle, which led to Christian Pierce having to track somebody down 60 yards down the field. And I think, I don't think that they lack confidence. I think it does get a little shaken as the game goes along when kind of nothing's working. And again, when you are kind of left on an island, and I think you start to overthink it a little bit. And I think that's what they started to do a little bit out there in coverage. I think they're overthinking it sometimes. And again, they got to find, this is why the bye week is so important. And I think this is very, very crucial for them. Find out where they're most comfortable at, because they do want to play man coverage across the board sometimes. You have to find what works for them. Either if they're playing catch technique, they're sitting there at 5. If you want to go hard press, if you want to, I guess, emphasize a little bit more on the soft press, you have to find what makes them most comfortable, what's going to be most effective. Because again, I think that they can get better. I don't necessarily think that it's going to happen right away against Michigan.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how they approach that game, because you brought up the defensive line. We know that the team was dealing with some sort of food poisoning issue at Illinois. Team don't really only affect one side of the ball, but we're not going to get into that. Here's my question. So we know the defensive line didn't have a great game.
No.
We know the secondary had a terrible game.
They're bad at all 3 levels.
Yeah,
in the Illinois game, they're bad at all 3 levels.
So, which brings me to the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're only 5 games in, but is Rob Ryan a better storyteller than linebacker coach? Or, and again, is it Eric Gentry and then just a drop off in talent? Because I thought we would see more from that group, even though they don't rotate a lot of guys there. I thought we'd see a little bit more development from that position.
I don't know if it's necessarily you call it a gap with Eric Gentry, because I think he's probably going to be an All-American. I think So I mean, I think that comes in with Rob Ryan as well. I think a lot of that is helping elevate him to what he is now. He's obviously a good player beforehand. You saw what he did last year. I think what he's doing right now is kind of what last year would have looked like if he hadn't gotten hurt. But I think it is a little bit combination. It obviously is more Rob Ryan getting a little bit involved in helping them out with that. With Devin Stevens, he hasn't been bad. No. Bad is obviously the wrong word. I don't think and I think he would probably say it too, I don't think he's at the level I think we necessarily thought he was going to be at.
Did you hear his answers after Wednesday's practice, what he was talking about? Mm-hmm. It was real fundamental, real technical. He was talking about making sure you're not a step slow, making sure you're not, taking a false step. So that's kind of what the message I got from him was. I just need to trust my instincts and not.
And he has fantastic instincts.
Yeah.
Like he has a defensive back background. He was returning punts in high school, and he's the linebacker, right? He's a 6'3", 235-pound linebacker, and he was returning punts in high school. Like he's a fantastic athlete. I think he's a lot better than what he's playing right now, and I think he knows that too. And I think that's why he talked like that yesterday. And I think this comes with a little bit more reps because I think we put these expectations on it. It's kind of the same with the defensive backs. Like Stevens played last year, right? He played every single game last year, but he was playing special teams. He very, very rarely played in like linebacker positions. It'd be like 8 snaps or like 12 snaps. I don't think it was more than that. I think obviously Mascarenas, Arnold, and Mason Cobb pretty much occupied all those snaps last year. So I think some of that is a little bit from being in a game setting with it. And he's another guy I think too that we'll see a month from now. I think he's another guy that we talk about. He's like, look how much better he's gotten as the season's gone along. I think being next to Eric Gentry is going to help with that, but also with that position, I would like to see Jaden Walker get more reps. I would like to, and that's not a knock on Desmond Stevens. I think that Jaden Walker is another guy who's again that they talked about constantly in the spring and summer and fall. They're like Jaden Walker, like he always brought up, and he's flashed this year. Like he's had some really, really good moments, and I would like to see him get a little bit more reps in there.
I would like to see a little bit more true 4-3 alignment, especially in this upcoming game against Michigan.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna have to because they're gonna line up in power I. I mean, they're gonna run the ball. You have to. Yeah, you have to use the 3 linebackers.
Yeah. So again, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully, we start to see more from that group in this game. It's the type of game where if you're a linebacker, you look forward to it. You just want to get helmet on helmet. You want to go find the running back, find the quarterback, and knock his head into the dirt.
Yeah, the gap discipline has to be so much better across the front seven. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the secondary where you saw like there'd be a big play in that Georgia Southern game, a big run or a big pass in the Missouri State game or Michigan State. Like there was always like a small thing. And that was also the same thing with the run defense. I remember the first thing that always stands out was that Missouri State game and that first drive. I don't remember how long the run was, but he ran off the left side and he obviously crossed into midfield and stuff like that. And I was like, that's
not good.
It's play. I don't want to overreact, but when you saw it, especially against the competition, what our expectations were for that group, it's like that's not supposed to happen. And again, like their other team has players, they have talent, they can do other things, but you saw it like at small increments and stuff like that. And Purdue had a little bit of it. Like there's so much talent on this defense. This is why it's so baffling sometimes because the defensive line goes 3 deep. Like there's a lot of bodies in there. There's a lot of good dudes. And the same with the linebacker room. Like there's a lot of good players that aren't playing. So that's why it is a little bit more confusing why they're not necessarily at the level that we thought they would be. But again, this bye week is at such a good time. And I think that Illinois game is as bad as we're going to see them play. Because again, they weren't good at all 3 levels. And I think that you'll learn so much from it. And I do believe in the staff, right? They got Coach Lynn, they got Coach Ryan, they got Coach Belk, they got all these guys. I believe that they'll use these 2 weeks to really rally the group. And I think that they do have the veteran guys, and obviously Kamari will be on the field. I think just not having him on the field has such a dramatic effect because he's playing nickel, and obviously like the stats aren't showing up for him, but just like having him on the field, he's the captain, he's the leader of the defense. Yeah. Talking just in guys' ears and pushing him and stuff like that. And just, Kamari's there. I know what he's going to do. I got to show up and stuff too. I think just not having him on the field, just his presence really, really affected them.
Yeah, and I think what I'll do, I'll just end the segment with this. I like what Bishop Fitzgerald said after practice yesterday. You don't like the loss. I mean, you never want to lose the game. But he said, what, maybe this is what we needed to kind of make sure we're focused. Those weren't his exact words. We were talking about, kind of being humbled a little bit. Yeah. And there were, Coach Bielema after the game said, hey, USC was talking a lot before, during, and after the game. So
I don't know about all that. But
well, again, that's just we can report what's said.
Yeah.
What Bishop said, I think, to that point, hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. Let's just make sure we're on everything. We know our assignments. We're trusting everything. And the coaching staff will get this there. So in the next segment, Kendell and we're going to talk about when we always like to talk about situational football. Clay Helton brought it up. Lincoln Riley brings it up all the time. Well, there was some situational football that was played against Illinois, and Kendell and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move the culture, and they keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is, remember when Jaden Mayaba helped lead USC to their first lead of the game with minute 55 left to play? That happened after Jaden threw his first interception of the season, and he actually struggled on his next series of downs. USC went 3 and out. After that, though, Jaden found his groove again. He went on to lead 3 touchdown drives, and he was 15 for 17 during that time period for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. So USC still ended up losing by 2 points. However, Mayaba's play showed that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he was able to bounce back after making a mistake. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Well, the weekend's almost here, Kendall, and which means it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered more by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more money every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's talk about these guys. We know that Jaden Mayaba delivered. I just told you about it. But one of the biggest benefactors of Jaden's play has been Makai Lemon, but also the tight ends. Against Illinois, Makai had 11 catches for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was a referee's whistle from 3 touchdowns and over 200 yards of receiving. And the tight ends, Lake McCree, Walker Lyons, they combined for 7 catches, almost 100 yards. And just like Makai and the tight ends delivered, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period runs through November 18th. All right, Kendall, I've made my point very clear on the show. Right? I planted my flag on the hill. He scored too damn soon and left Illinois way too much time to set up for that winning field goal. Now, before USC took its first and only lead of the game, again, that happened with 55 left.
Yeah.
USC was actually a perfect 4 for 4 in the red zone when they had the opportunity. And one of those was just, a field goal at the end of the first half. And that's because, maybe they took a little bit too long on second down. And then on third down, you had that high snap. I think it threw the timing off a little bit as well. So USC settled for a field goal. Here's the thing. At no point at any time did anyone think USC's defense was going to stop Illinois. And again, I know hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
How would you have played that final 2-minute situational football? Do you just go for the touchdown right off the bat? Or do you say, you know what, let's see if we can make Illinois use some clock and their timeouts?
No, I obviously prefer that they would have taken a little bit more time off, but I'm actually going to side a little bit more with Coach Riley on this one, because he talked about it after the game, right? Obviously, the question is, they left a minute 55 on. I don't know how many timeouts Illinois had left.
All 3.
They had all 3. Okay.
USC had all 3.
They had all 3. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? They were down, and
Down 5.
they were down 5, and he had said it because you don't want to play it too cute, right? Because the worst thing that would have happened, and he would have been criticized anyway, is they end up in 3rd and 12, 4th and 8. Obviously you get the crowd a little bit more into it. That's the worst case scenario. I think that a little bit in the back of his mind, that you didn't want to be put in that situation. And I understand, right? Because you sit around, you wait. And then, like I said, next thing you know, you're in 4th and 9. And you're in a desperation play, and all the momentum is on Illinois side. So I don't disagree with it. Obviously, because of the way that the defense was playing, you didn't want them, that much time left, a minute 55 and all 3 timeouts. But I understood why he did it, why they scored. Because if you have the opportunity to score, go score, right? It's different if you need a field goal, right? Or if the game is tied. That's so different. But when you need a touchdown and your opportunity is there, they should have. I mean, we all know that they should have taken more time off the clock, but they had the opportunity to score. and I'm not going to fault them for that.
And again, I totally get Coach Riley's explanation. I get it. It makes sense. But, we've been talking about how bad USC's defense was.
Yeah.
Illinois' defense wasn't showing any signs of stopping USC's offense, and that's why I prefaced it with first down at the 16-yard line. You can still get a first down. You've been perfect inside the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I don't think it's about getting cute with it. If you're going to dial up a pass play, all right, I get it. Sees Mackay one-on-one, but that's Illinois' base defense. They play single one. I mean, that's the defense you're going to see.
Yeah.
You have a guy that's in the flat. Throw it to him. You got to at least, I don't know. For me, it's all about probability. And we knew USC's defense wasn't going to stop anybody that game. And Illinois' defense wasn't stopping USC's offense. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you, what would our conversation be like today if they didn't score? Like that, they didn't score at all. They got in fourth. Yeah, they got in 4th and long, and Maeva gets sacked, and Maeva gets pressured, and they don't score at all.
So I would rather die using my strength on that game. And if my strength falls down at the end of the game on offense, so be it. I think I still gave myself the best chance to win the game because I can't remember one person in that press box when there was a minute 55 left on the scoreboard that didn't say,
"Here we go again."
There's too much time.
Yeah. I think we all thought that. I think, obviously the fans thought that. It's like, here we go again. It's really the same situation we were in like 7 times last year. Every week it was like, here we go again, right? Back in 2025, and all it took was the first month of the season for us to be back in the same situation. Again, like I don't fully agree with what the decision was. I'm with you on the fact that I don't fully agree that they should have scored with 155. But I'll just say that I do understand
absolutely
why they did it and why, I don't know. I just feel like it's a lose-lose situation because either way we're having one kind of discussion about it. Either we're having a discussion, you didn't score, you had the opportunity, you didn't have any kind of faith in your defense. I know they had struggled, but they'd shown you something for 4 games. You didn't have any kind of faith in them. And they had right not the. I mean, we had it was fair not to have faith in based on what we saw yesterday. Not on Saturday. But again, you would expect that you have some guys. If there's one chance that you have a one opportunity where they get a stop, you would really hope that it was obviously that one at the end. But it's done now. So you gotta bank it, go to the side. And I think the players have done a really good job of that this week. They know where they messed up. They know where they got to improve. And they're on to Michigan, right? I mean, that's all you can do. You don't, you can't think about it all week and into next week and the rest of the season. They're like, we're on to Michigan. It's on to the next game. We know what we need to do. We know where we need to be better. Let's worry about winning on our home turf next Saturday.
Absolutely. And like I know Coach Riley has forgotten more football than I will ever know. Mm-hmm. But sometimes the fans think I jump on Coach Riley too much. I jump on specific things. I still think he has an opportunity to lead this team to a really, really solid season this year. But again, will the defense improve enough over the bye week and next week going into Michigan? Because if they don't, it's going to be. It could start looking like 2024 all over again, and that is a good sign, Riley.
No, and just based off what I've seen on Twitter this week, looks like we already lost half the fan base, which I don't understand absolutely at all. It's getting ridiculous. The way that the fans have attacked, and I've seen some recruits' fathers talking about it too, which is very disheartening. The way that the players have been attacked and lost by 2 on the road, right, to a ranked team. Obviously, it was ugly. Obviously, the defense was bad. You had the penalties on offense, all these different things. It was very, very controllable, and they should have won the game. But it's not like they lost to, the Georgia Southern game. Not like they got, they lost that one. They lost. And again, this is what I didn't like going into the week because we obviously saw what Illinois did, what happened the Indiana game, right? The 63-10. We all saw it, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at what Indiana did." every game is a game by game basis. I really, really hate that logic. It's like, oh, well, look at that team, what they did to them, or what happened in that game. That doesn't matter. USC has its own players, their own scheme. And Illinois was pretty decimated on defense. That's number one. They were pretty decimated on defense in the end, which is really why. And at the end, and then obviously Luke Altmaier had probably one of his worst games ever in his Illinois career, and he's had a very, very good career there. And then they were at home this time. Like you had a ton of motivation. You had the home crowd. You had your star quarterback back on it. And again, it's different if they would. I know it's so frustrating that it was another last second loss. I know that's the part that really drives people crazy. But
there's always something.
Yes,
there's always something new. And
yes,
I think USC just wants to get USC fans, and I get it.
Yeah,
we're both USC fans. We just want to see USC get over the hump just once.
Yeah.
And, let's enjoy the roller coaster ride, because right now, a lot of USC fans are probably feeling like some of the USC players were they're like throwing up, tired of it. So
season's not over. We're 5 games in. We're only 5 games in. So I hope that everybody listening, everybody watching, you don't give up and you have that same support you had going into the game, because they need you, right? It's gonna be such a big game against Michigan. And if they don't show, they'll take over that stadium.
Yeah, you should have saved that for your Friday rant. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I got plenty.
We got to do this first.
Yeah,
Friday's rant is coming up. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. It doesn't matter whether you're running, whether you're lifting, cross-training, your favorite instructors, they're there to help you out. This is training reimagined, because Peloton is building for breakthroughs with tools that are going to help you plan, stay motivated, reach your peak performance. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can literally go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. And depending on how you're feeling, you can actually get your workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at spell it out, ONE, peloton.com. All right, Kendall, you kind of got us started early in that last segment there at the end. Every Friday, I always like to find at least 1 or 2 things that I got to get off my chest. So, you got one off yours. Let me get a couple off mine, and I'm going to let you.
Let's hear it.
One of yours. So, I have 2 things.
Yeah.
First of all, let me make sure everybody understands this. I love kids, right? I think the sound of a child laughing is one of the greatest sounds ever.
100%.
However, the sound of a baby crying on an airplane, especially after a loss and a 3.5-hour trip home, it's enough to make me consider Harry Carey. I mean, either that or I'm looking for the parachute, and not for me. I want to put it on the parent and that baby. I want to push it out because the first airline that literally sets an age requirement, they're getting my business forever.
It's gonna be a long line.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, sports related. I kind of alluded to it earlier in the show. We need to get rid of the ineligible man downfield penalty. That rule is stupid. It's dumb, especially if the player who's being flagged isn't engaged at all. I mean, that one that was called against Ja'Andre Reed, it was one of the most well-conceived, most beautifully designed trick plays I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Executed perfectly. Except for the general kind of, maybe going a yard or 2 downfield. Ball's already in the air, though. It's already over his head.
Yeah.
Who cares? I need the Big Ten referees to be taken behind the woodshed, and somebody needs to.
Oh, man.
BTA.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the play. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the playing one, when you texted me about it, I was like, okay, I guarantee something happened on the way back. I was like, that's not something that he was thinking about. I was like, something happened on the way back from the Illinois game that he was thinking about, and it's been on his mind all week. So that was
Go
my
to my
first
Twitter,
thing.
You see my face. You could
Yeah.
hear it in the background. It's just like,
yeah, it's especially on a long flight. That's a long flight, and babies don't cry for a little bit. It's a long
anything to pacify. Stick
Yeah.
something in the mouth. Use your resources. That's all.
The thing I hate the most is obviously the crying is super annoying because a lot of times you are trying to sleep and relax on a plane. Is again, I'm not obviously I don't want to, but when you look at the mother and she's not doing anything, like they're just like baby's crying. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like they just sit there and I'm like, it's the same thing like when you see a kid acting up and you look at the parent, you look at it like, do I need to do something? Like you're like, yeah, do I need to step in? And the same with the baby, like
show me you can.
yeah, like at least look out for somebody else. You look over there, they're just chilling. I'm like, all right, I get you're tired, and it's kind of you're kind of used to it. But I'm like, I'm not. Think about it.
It's like nails across a chalkboard for me. It really is.
Yeah, and then okay, the illegal man downfield. I have a completely different side of it. I think that linemen are allowed to go down the field too much. I think they can go too far. Do you remember the Auburn teams with Gus Malzahn back in the early 2000s? Sure. I think when they went to the national championship, it was 5-6 yards down the field. Like they were far. Like they might as well have been pass catchers, right? They can hook up, run a curl, they can run in there. I mean, they're already out there, so they might as well. And as a defensive player, especially reading your keys, that's a lot of your keys. And when you see a lineman coming at you 5-6 yards down the field, and then next thing you know, it's an RPO behind you, or here comes the over route or something that another route comes right behind you. That's very, very frustrating. I think you are allowed to go down the field more in college than you are in the NFL. I think they're a lot more stricter in the NFL. I'm pretty sure. So I understand your beef with it. You're right, but I obviously I understand what you're saying. When the ball is it's like right, it's down the field. It's like it's not affecting anything. Like nothing happened. Like I guess in that case it didn't affect a defensive player's read because I don't think they knew anything. I didn't think they knew anything was going on anyway because none of us knew what was going on. Yeah.
What was so funny is John Ray was maybe a yard and a half past the.
It was like you looked at it, you would think that like when they called it that he's like like I said like a sixth receiver down the field, but it's like he was like I guess like a half a yard more than the next guy.
The ball was already in his hands essentially. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you have to look at the situations like what
zero
effect on the play, zero.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I understand. No, I understand. Yeah. All right. I'll go quick. I told you about my biggest thing because I'll stick with college football for the first one is the scheduling. I absolutely hate the scheduling of college football, and I don't understand. One, I don't understand why everybody doesn't play the same schedule. Like the same variation of schedule. Everybody looking at the SEC, everybody should be playing 9 conference games. Like that's number one. Like everybody should be playing 9 conference games, and then your non-conference games should be the same. Like I was pulling it up and I looked at Penn State's and they played it was like Florida International, Villanova, and Nevada. Like, that's atrocious for the fans.
What happened? We might have lost Kendell there. It'll freeze up on his end. Give it a few more seconds. And if not, I'll just go ahead and wrap up the show. I think your internet froze up, Kendell. Anyways, Kendell did get a good couple of rants off. He got one at the end of the second segment, and he actually disagreed with mine in the third segment about the ineligible man downfield. That's Kendell Holowell. He again writes for SI Sports Illustrated, and he also reports for the NFL Network. So I will have him back on the show again in the future. He's such a wealth of knowledge, really expresses himself well, and I know the fans of this show like him also. So until that next episode of Locked On USC, you know what to do.